Just give it a moment. Game's about to show up. There we go. There it is. Hello, everybody. Good evening or good afternoon, wherever you're at. So I'm Najumu here, and we are back with stories from the soul, the gun dog. So, slight bit of a recap on what happened last time around. As expected, the most unpleasant people on the ship, namely Vanessa, has decided to go for a little bit of a coup, a little bit of a mutiny, if you can say that. And basically, the captain, the original captain, Captain Bartermuse, and Cass are being blamed for all the things that happened, even though, it's obvious from playing the game they didn't do anything, right? And of course, as the main character, and because Cass is, the main character's girlfriend, of course he's going to be on her side. So eventually the traitors, to say the least, decided to say, okay, so you're with them, right? And now we are trying to work with Dalton. We're trying our best to work with Dalton because boy is still a bundle of nerves, to say the least. And hopefully things will be able to work out in the end, and we managed to put those traitors in their place. Yeah. But with that said, let's look at the chat. We have Rayquaza. Hello, good morning. We have Kirby. Hello, Kirby. How you doing? And Lindsay. Hello, Lindsay. Good evening. Well. Now, let's actually continue, shall we? Okay. So now, where shall we move? Should we go to... Maybe we should look, right? Maybe we should look. Could try luring them into the airlock itself, then closing the door behind them, maybe? That idea's got so many holes that it's got more hole than plan. I guess these could be used as a disguise, maybe? I'm sure that at least one of them would want to know who was wandering around the ship in an emergency spacesuit. Scrap that idea. Decompressing the whole ship could be a fun way to get those two out of the way, but I don't fancy my chances of not getting blown out into space along with them. I've not got any access to the terminal system right now, so I can't use any of their functions to distract Hansen and Haru. Can we talk to someone? I guess we can talk to Dalton. Dalton, do you read me?
Loud and clear, Lieutenant. Do you need help?
That's right. I'm in the airlock. There's no way for me to get to the elevators without being seen. I'm going to need your help. I need... some way to distract them, or a different way. Some way to distract them. Let's try that.
Some way to distract them? I don't really...
Dalton, you don't have to do much. All I need is something that gets their attention away from the central hub for a few minutes. It can be anything. Make a commotion, or say there's an emergency. Anything.
Right. I think I can do that.
Thanks, Cadet. I know it's tough, but this is important. You see that Dalton is transmitting, but as far as you can tell, he's not saying anything. Although you do wonder whether a new high-pitched squeaking that you can hear is really the radio interference it sounds like. Just take it easy. It'll all work out. They've got no reason to suspect you're up to anything.
Okay. Give me a few minutes. I'll do something.
Thanks again, Cadet. Tucking the radio into one of your pockets, you make your way back to the... Okay, I think we should be back. Yeah. Yeah, we're good. We're good. I fixed it. Don't worry. Thank you for telling me, Lindsay. So, gritting your teeth, you quickly creep along the corridor until you're almost in the central hub, so that you can hear the conversation better. Hey, kid, what's going on? Well, I was in the hangar and, spit it out. Come on, can't you tell we're busy here? I was in the hangar, which is, of course, I was in the hangar because I'm doing the repairs, but, Cadet, hurry it up. You're killing me here. You slip to the other side of the corridor, getting just enough of a change of perspective to allow you to see into the four-side thoroughfare. From what you can tell, both Hansen and Haru have their backs turned to the central hub, but each one stood at an angle where they'd notice any movement in it out of the corner of their eye. You curse under your breath. If this is Dalton's idea of a distraction, you're in serious trouble. It was the machine in there. I think I saw it move, so I need you to come and... Kid, you're seeing things. If that thing was moving, we'd all know about it. Now get back to fixing my Juno and don't bother us with... But it did. You need to come look right now. Listen, you're seeing things now. Get out of here. But it did. Nice job, you lunkhead. Hey, what'd I do? As Dalton begins to bawl, both Hansen and Haru step forward, half trying to get him to stop, half quarreling with each other over whose fault the cadet's emotional breakdown was. With no better opportunity in sight, you make your break for it. Okay, I guess him being a big baby actually kind of helped. Cool. Yeah, I think we'll take that. Swiftly, you dash across the central hub and press up against the elevator door. You repeatedly tap the button, thankful that due to its emergency nature, the sickbay doesn't need you to swipe your keycard to access it, instead relying on simply using a bioscanner to log whoever enters. As the door begins to open, you immediately slip through the gap, hitting the door or close button as soon as you're inside. Hey, what was... Don't try and get out of this, you jerk. With a sigh of relief, you lean back against the cool metal wall and feel yourself to begin to move downwards. Despite everything, Dalton's so-called distraction had actually worked. It hadn't been what you hoped for, but there was no point in dwelling on that now. As the elevator's rate of descent begins to slow, you step forward and shield your eyes as the doors open and expose you to the harsh glare of the sickbay lights. Now that you finally got here, you could begin. You emerge slowly and silently to the sickbay, scanning the room as soon as your eyes have adjusted to the light. At first glance, you don't see any sign of the attacker who knocked you out the last time you were here, but you are careful to check behind the doctor's desk, as well as the other blind spots within the room. Once you're confident there's no one else in here with you, your shoulders drop and you release the tension you'd been carrying. Without any obvious threat, you take your time going over the room. Everything was as you remembered it being. No one had ever gone to the effort of cleaning up the shattered glass that covered the floor in front of the medicine cabinets. You take a small amount of solace in that fact. You were lucky. It meant that everything else in the room had been left alone too, including any evidence that might absolve Cassie or the captain. Okay, where to begin? Alright, let's look around. Heading over to the emergency beds, you do a quick visual review that doesn't reveal anything unusual. Despite this, you take some extra time to go over them, peering into all the little nooks and crannies where the padded top joints joins the frame. Hold on, let me make myself a little bit smaller so that you guys can see the text properly. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, a little bit of a resize. All right, let's keep going. Let me have the chats up. Bam. All right, let's go. You pay careful attention, looking for any unusual markings or damage, or signs that someone else may have been around them aside from Cassie and the doctor. Unfortunately, the only thing that you can find that would be considered out of the ordinary is an empty chocolate bar wrapper stuffed under the pillow alongside a few crumbs on the covering. You didn't need to be an expert tracker to know who had been here. The doctor's desk. If there's any documents that will come in useful, they'll be in here. Let's see. Much like on the O'Brien, the glass fronts of the cabinets that stored the various medicines and treatments had all been smashed with fragments covering the floor. You do your best to avoid disturbing anything, but still manage to crunch a few pieces underfoot as you look at the broken edges of the glass that remains in the cabinet doors. No blood, no fabric, nothing caught on these shards. You step back to get a better look and hear something crinkle as you step on it. Turning back to see what it was, you kneel down to pick it up. Nutri-Shake mix. You turn the packet into your hands and notice that it's completely empty. Just like what happened on the O'Brien. I know it wasn't Cassie who killed the doctor, and since this is the same thing that happened on the O'Brien, does that mean it's the same killer? Could it be whoever's piloting that machine? We've not seen any sign that anyone's been able to leave it. And why would they kill two doctors just over nutritional shakes? Ugh, doesn't make any sense. As you walk over to the entrance to the surgery wing, the first thing you notice is that the typically clear glass panel that lets you look inside still has the frosted effect that's reserved for the patient modesty or any procedure requiring discretion. With the rest of the crew accounted for and no one available to do any surgeries, you can only assume that it was left in place because of an issue. We're back though. Yeah, we're back, guys. Sorry. A little bit of internet disconnection for some reason. I think we should be good. Okay. Let's see. What else can we actually check? Use. The doctor's desk. It's probably my best bet of finding something useful. Moving around to the side where Dr. Rosarium typically sat, you're relieved to find out that the drawers are unlocked. You take a thick pile of files on the top and begin flicking through them, looking for anything useful. There's got to be something here, you think, but there's a huge number of documents within the stack of folders that you've taken, more than you can easily skim through. Why is Steam in full screen mode? What the heck? That was weird. There we go. Jackpot! Pulling a sticky note off the screen and placing it back in the drawer, you took the device out of you inspected it. Out of you inspected? That is weird. You took the device out of you inspected. Yeah, that must be a translation error. I think it should be pulling a sticky note off the screen and placing it back in the drawer. You took the device out and inspected, looking for the power button. You find it and flick a switch on the back of the data pad. Watching the screen slowly illuminate as the device comes to life, the sound of a drive within it beginning to spin, letting you know that it's still functional. Alright, I bet this will have all the information I need. Your elation is immediately wiped out as you're faced with a login prompt. Oh, come on! You place the data pad on the desk alongside the piles of files and sit down on the doctor's chair, placing your head in your hands. You had no expectation that this endeavor would be easy. You'd be hoping that at the very least it would have been simple. Unfortunately, that did not look like it would be the case. After taking a few moments to silently fume at the challenges that were being thrown your way, you realize there's nothing you can do but move forward. This can't be it. There's gotta be something I can do. In a long exhalation, you stand up, looking around the sickbay. You'd come this far, you weren't going to give up yet. Running your hands back through your hair, you pace from one side of the room to another. As far as you could tell, there was no obvious proof that Cassie had been the doctor's murderer, but you couldn't find any proof to the contrary either. At this rate, you wouldn't be able to find anything. There was every chance that once you left the sickbay, the ensigns would have returned to their positions outside the crew's quarters. Had you risked it all for nothing? Before you can dwell on that thought, you hear the elevator whir into life, letting you know that within the next few seconds, someone would be entering the room. With no time to spare, you decide to... let's save? Hide! You look around the room in desperation for somewhere to conceal yourself so that you can either stay unnoticed by whoever enters or get the drop on them if necessary. With the surgery wing locked and emergency beds nothing more than suspended platforms, you're left with one option. Just as the door slides open, you dive behind the desk, trying to tuck yourself into what little space there is underneath it. Remaining as quiet as you can, you listen to the sound of footsteps crossing the room towards your position. As the doors slide shut behind whoever had just entered, you hear them take a few steps further into the room before they stop. You can hear your heart pounding as you wait for the mystery crew member to continue moving further where you can get a look at them. But as time continues to pass, there's nothing but silence. Eventually, the tension you'd be feeling turns to frustration. Did they know you were hiding? Were they waiting for you to reveal yourself so that you'd have the advantage? Was this a mind game they were playing? You notice that near the desk is one of the many boxes of medication that had been scattered across the room when whoever had ransacked their sickbay had gone through the medicine cabinets. With the utmost care to not give yourself away, you reach out for it and pick it up. Then, shifting your position, you throw it as far side of the room where it bounces a few times. Its contents audibly shift within it until it hits the far wall and stops. Yeah! You recognize the startled scream instantly and breathe a sigh of relief as you crawl out from underneath the desk and stand up. As you turn to greet Dalton, you see his back is facing you as he hammers the call button on the sickbay elevator. Cadet, relax. It's just me. Ah! Dalton, take it easy. Sorry, sir. I saw something move and didn't see you, so I thought something was in here and... Dalton. Right. Yes, sorry, sir. Don't worry about it. What are you doing here, Cadet? Well, I tried to distract the ensigns for you, but it didn't quite work. You recall Dalton bursting into tears in front of both Hansen and Haru, giving you the opportunity to get to the elevators, albeit not quite the way you'd intended. And I got a bit overwhelmed, so eventually they told me I should go down to the sickbay to find some, they called them benzos, and lie down. I didn't think you'd be in here, which is why Right, I get it, Cadet. But it worked! My distraction worked! Yeah, you did, good job there. Have you managed to find what you were after? Can we prove the captain and lieutenant commander innocent? You let out an exhausted sigh and your shoulders drop. Oh. not had any luck yet. You gesture towards the sickbay. The door to the surgery wing is locked, so I can't get to the doctor's body to see if I can find out how he was killed. And although I found his data pad, it's protected by a password. Aside from that, doesn't seem like there's anything useful in here. Oh, well, Hey, don't let me get you down, Cadet. I'm sure there's something here I just haven't figured out yet.
Yeah, and maybe if I help you out, you'll be able to find it. The insides told me to take a break in here, so it won't be strange if I don't come back for a while. We'll figure it out, sir. Don't worry.
That's the spirit, Cadet. Okay. Now, let's use this. Despite a closer inspection of the cupboards and cabinets, you don't find anything new that you had been able to see the last time. You check the beds once again, but with how thorough you've been the first time around, there's nothing new for you to find. You stand in front of the closed doorway to the surgery wing and tap on the frosted glass. You know the glass used was the same kind as what's used in the window on the bridge, and would be pretty much impenetrable to conventional weapons. I don't know what you had at your disposal. You'd not been able to find the doctor's keycard. Without it, you'd have much of a chance of getting in. Datapad? This definitely isn't the time to be using that. With a smug sense of satisfaction, you swipe the card through the terminal next to the door and wait for it to open. Instead, you're met with a harsh series of digital tones. Access denied. Insufficient authority. Figures. Your eyes linger on the terminal for a few more seconds as you think about everything you'd gone through in the past few days, involving bypassing these devices or doors attached to them entirely. Dalton, you didn't bring the PST by any chance, did you?
Oh, no, sorry, sir. I didn't think we'd need it.
You spent some time investigating the terminal. With all the time you'd spent over the past few days getting around the ship's security functions, you couldn't help but feel there was something that could be done here. There's no way to unlock this that you know of, is there, Cadet? Anything you can do to the mechanism that could disengage it?
Sorry, Lieutenant. The only way around them that I know is the PST, and that would need the doctor's card anyway. I think that door's locked, so only he can access it.
Crossing your arms, you sigh. If that was the case, whoever had moved him in there had probably taken this card before they left him. You didn't know who it was, but you couldn't exactly go around asking the rest of the crew to borrow it. Hey Kirby, how you doing? I'm doing good. I'm just checking out the story here. It's pretty interesting. And this poor kid, he's just like, I don't know, he needs therapy after this game is done. There's no other way in? Nothing at all? No vents? No crawlways?
Sorry, Lieutenant, but the sick bay is pretty much separated from the rest of the ship in case they, need to do quarantine procedures or something. It's got its own air supply, and it's on a different circuit to the rest of the ship.
I've been hunting and also changed my character for now until maybe the DLC drops. Oh. Well, of course you're using the Akuma skin, right? I mean, unless you're still staying with your second character's looks. Ugh.
Sorry.
It's not your fault, Cadet. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, of course.
What now, though? It's a mix. Second character look and Akuma. Ooh. I see. I just needed that change. Understandable.
You felt that this close of being able to find out what you were after. Is, everything alright, sir?
Yeah, it's fine, Cadet. Just think about the doctor's data pad.
Could give us everything we need, but without his password, there's no way for us to access it. Has he, left a clue or a hint or anything? Sometimes when I have to remember something, I'll make a little note.
A vague memory returns to you and you walk around to the other side of the desk, opening the top drawer once you're there. You rummage through the various plugs and cables, but it seems like you've already taken everything that might be useful out. You close it and open the drawer below, finding only the sticky note that you had previously peeled off the screen. You hold your breath, hoping that the doctor approaches his password the same way Dalton does. Apprehensively, you pick up the note and start reading. Device asks me to press any key to continue. Ask Kathy's location of any key not visible on keyboard.
Damn it, Doctor. Is that it, Lieutenant? Did you find it? Can you log in?
You hold the note out to Dalton, who takes it.
Oh.
Yeah.
But, if it was that bad with computers, how complicated could his password be, right? Maybe it's something we could guess?
You look at the optimistic sparkle in the cadet's eyes that clearly at odds with both of his anxiety and the world around him. Letdown of the note had made you feel that much more exhausted. You weren't confident that you'd find out what you were after, but you couldn't take that hope away from Dalton. Watches his password is 123456. Maybe, Cadet. Maybe it's something really simple. Well, on his note, he's taking the instructions at face value, right? Maybe his password is something like that. Just something really obvious, maybe? Something really obvious, huh? Alright, let's give this a try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess that wasn't it. Password, okay. Maybe it's password. Watch as it's also password. Password. Oh my god, I friggin' knew it. It's either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or just type password. Password. Oh my god. Oh, doctor. Doctor. A real special one, I gotta say. Dr. Rosarian, you can't be serious.
What was it, Lieutenant?
Password, as in enter password. The cadet looks at you blankly, and you can see him try to mentally process this shocking lack of cybersecurity awareness.
Oh.
Yeah, seems like he takes all the instructions on his data pad pretty literally. Excuse me.
Well, I guess that's good. For us, anyway.
You nod your head in agreement, already beginning to review the functions available to you. Ooh. Task. Let's see. Here we go. Information on Cassie.
Oh, does it tell you what you need to know?
Well, according to this, the doctor gave her sedatives at 21:22. I came down at 21:30. That's when I found the doctor dead and I was attacked. If she'd been sedated, she wouldn't have been in any condition to do any of this damage, let alone kill him.
Does it say anything about the captain, Lieutenant?
Nothing in here, but I'll keep looking. Right treatment for basalgia. Vasalgia? Rehydrate with high glucose electrolyte mix accompanied by painkillers. Provide recommendations on counseling for alcohol misuse and potential addiction. God damn it, Captain. Out of order. Yeah, gotcha. This fact, it contains the medical records of everyone on board the Gundog. Go any further, I'll be looking at some really sensitive material. There could be something in here that helps me. Need to make sure I only look at what I need to. Okay, let's look at Bartermuse. Ah, here we are. Yeah? Just found records for the captain. Says he found her unresponsive due to, something called vasalgia. But it says she was unresponsive, so that should prove she wasn't absent on purpose.
Oh, that's good, right?
I mean, it's not good, but it's good for... It shows that... I get what you mean, Dalton. Yes, it is good for us.
That's, everything, isn't it? We know the lieutenant commander was sedated, and that both of her and the captain were really ill when the power went off. It should prove it to everyone, right?
Hopefully. This is pretty hard to argue against. What about... Cassie? What's with her? Recent update. Patient delivered to sick bay, unconscious at 12:34. Sudden onset of migraines, unconsciousness on 23/4/214. Current scans remains inconclusive. Indication of neurological condition. Require escalation to the Conley Medical Center. Scan set 3 provides no avenue for effective treatment. Diagnosed with gastric distress linked to synthetic ingredients in onboard food stores. Ongoing treatment. Standard meals should be substituted for Nutri-Shake powders. 50 grams serving 3 times daily. Oh. Okay, so someone definitely wants to blame her. Okay. Recurrent complaints regarding low-impact conditions. Potential hypochondria. All right. Left shoulder joint internally augmented following injury sustained. Okay. Severe fracture of ulna due to trauma from sudden impact whilst piloting armored frame. Automated ossification procedure commenced and completed by 1923. No indication of long-term damage. Refusal to attend CBT EMDR sessions. Diagnosed with complex PTSD. Oh. What about these? Oh my god. These devs, they're cheeky. They're cheeky. His name is Dylan Dees and he has nut allergy. Yeah, so don't give him these nuts, I guess. Cool. What about Dalton? Generalized anxiety disorder. Ongoing treatment, SSRI, 50 milligrams daily. Ongoing counseling. Yeah, like I said, this kid needs therapy. What about Haru? Investigated for enhanced sensory potential following 3 consecutive wins in Youth Frame Racing Championships. Results inconclusive. Further assessment required. Well, I guess we got what we needed. Oops. Yeah, I guess we're done here.
That's pretty much it, isn't it, Lieutenant? What's on the data pad shows that the Lieutenant Commander couldn't have killed the doctor, and that both her and Captain Bartermuse were actually sick. We could show this to everyone and change their minds, can't we?
Well...
Oh, Did I miss something?
No, it's not that, Cadet. I know we can show that it wasn't the captain and it wasn't Commander Quinn, but we still don't know who it was.
Oh,
There's a killer on this ship, and right now, we're the only people who know that for certain. Even if we get Captain Bartermuse back on the bridge, the whole crew's still at risk. We need to figure out who it was and stop them before they can kill again.
but how?
After seeing the data pad, I realized that it's not just the doctor making logs. In special cases like the armory, there's alerts that are set off when someone uses it. For day-to-day things like doors, it's just recorded. If we look at the records, we should be able to figure out who it actually was by tracking the crew's movements.
But isn't Lieutenant Lord on the bridge? If we went to get reports, she'd set off an alarm or something.
We don't need to go to the bridge, Cadet. Think about it. Everything on this ship is run from the central computer, right? Then just head straight there.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But there's one thing, Dalton.
Lieutenant?
I'm going to need another distraction. Something serious this time.
Oh, right. Okay.
Cadet, don't worry. Doesn't need to be something huge, just something that gets the ensigns out of the thoroughfare. I know you can do it, Dalton. We're so close.
Okay. Okay, Lieutenant. I'll do what I can.
Thanks, Dalton. Alright, so I'll head up with you, and as soon as you distract them, I'll make my way to the airlock and head to the engineering department via the crawlways.
Okay, so I'll head out before you?
Right. You press the call button next to the elevator doors, and they instantly slide open. Wordlessly, you and Dalton both step inside. As the elevator starts its journey upwards, you look over to the cadet who's standing rigidly, his eyes fixed on the doors ahead. Cadet.
Yes, sir?
It'll be fine. Just get them looking away from the central hub and keep them busy for 30 seconds. That's all I need.
Yes, Lieutenant.
Eventually, the doors slide open and you both remain stood in silence. You wait for Dalton to make his move, but instead, he stays still, staring straight ahead. Dalton. Cadet. Attempt again. You close your eyes and pinch the bridge of your nose. In the silence of the central hub, you can only hear Dalton breathing and exhaling loudly. Dalton, it'll be fine. Just get out there. With tears welling up in the corners of his eyes, the young cadet looks at you.
But...
As much as you'd like to coach Dalton, now that you've arrived, you do not have the time. Dalton, it'll be fine. Now, internally you feel a pang of guilt, but you need to get out of this elevator into the crawlways before the ensigns come to investigate why no one had stepped out. Without warning, you shove the cadet, sending him stumbling into the central hub. The look of betrayal on his face as he turns back to you makes you the guilt you'd feel sting again. Unfortunately, you couldn't ask for his forgiveness right now. All you can do is mouth the word "go" and point towards the Forsyth thoroughfare. Hey, kid! What are you doing there? You hear Hanson calling him out. Hey, I'm talking to you, Grange! But Dalton stood transfixed on the spot, looking towards Hanson. You begin to slowly reach towards the button to send the elevator back down to the sickbay. It would mean that you need to carefully arrange another distraction later. That was better than being discovered now. Damn it, I'm supposed to be guarding these quarters, kid. What the hell are you doing over there? Your finger is on the button as you hear Hanson approach, when all of a sudden...
Now screaming at the top of his lungs, Dalton sprinted towards the four-side thoroughfare. Damn it, kid. What did you take? You hear the sound of someone tumbling over as Dalton's scream disappears into the far side of the ship. Get up, Cruz. The kid's gone nuts. Yeah, I got that. Grab him. Sensing that this is the best opportunity you'd be getting, you quickly but quietly leave the elevator. Taking a surreptitious look down the four-side thoroughfare, you see Dalton run, still screaming, into the mess hall, pursued by both ensigns. With both Hansen and Haru now out of the way, you dash towards the airlock. From there, you waste no time opening the hatch and sliding into the crawlways, making sure you seal the entrance behind you. With the riskiest part of your journey from sickbay to engineering dealt with, you let out a sigh of relief as you start the long crawl towards your objective. You quickly clamber out of the crawlway, replacing the grating that you had removed whilst looking out for any signs of other crew members. As soon as it's back in place, you dart behind the most obtrusive piece of machinery you can find, carefully peering out to check out your path to the central computer is clear. With no one around, you dash along the various catwalks that take you to where you need to be, occasionally stopping to check that each corner you turn or path you're about to take doesn't cause you to step out in front of someone you hadn't spotted. Fortunately for you, your path is clear, and it doesn't take you long to reach the entrance to the central computer. Here we are. Pulling Cassie's key card out of your pocket, you slide it through the card reader on the terminal and the door hisses open. With one last look behind you to ensure that you weren't being followed, you step inside the small room, the door sliding shut behind you. Alone in the small room that contains the interface for the central computer, you take the opportunity to stretch your arms out and above and roll your head from side to side to work out the stiffness that had accumulated during your journey through the crawlways. I would say like crawlways would be extremely cramped, so I can't blame them for that. Laying your hands on the keyboard, you wonder whether you should call Dalton. Although you had used the surface level functions of your terminal and datapad, anything beyond that was a mystery to you. Computers had never been something you had much enthusiasm for getting to grips with. You begin to reach for the radio, but stop. After Dalton's distraction, there was every chance that the ensigns were with him right now, and you didn't want to give yourself away. With a sigh, you begin to type in commands, stopping every few keystrokes to delete a mistyped character or to remember the correct format of a particular instruction. It takes you much longer than you'd like, but you eventually manage to pull out a long list of every time a crew member entered or exited a room. As you slowly work your way through the more recent records, you finally arrive at April 23rd, 2130, the time when you had gone to visit Cassie. Below that was no information, sickbay, 2129? How can there be no information? There's a log right there. You begin scrolling back through the records, hoping that you can figure out who it actually was by checking the other crew members' activity. Couldn't rule out that somehow the data had been corrupted. Was it possible that Vanessa had made a dummy profile somehow? As you keep scrolling through the huge number of crew movements, you soon notice another instance of no information appearing. No information. Crew quarters 5, 21-2? That's Cassie's cabin. With a new fervor, you begin scrolling faster and faster, spotting more entries for this mystery individual. No information, central computer, 2021. No information, engine room, 1933. No information, mess hall, 1910. No information, hangar, 1850. That was just after Hansen and I crashed down into the ship. That machine crashed into the hangar, too. You continue working your way down the list, But as you do, you can see no further entries belonging to anyone other than the crew. Eventually, you stop, simply staring at the screen as you try to process what you've read. Without a word, you turn around, stepping out into the engineering department. As the door to the central computer hisses shut, you lean back against it, staring at the expanse of the engineering department and its myriad machines and devices. At first, you'd assumed that the entry on the system for no information was just a glitch. But when you saw where it had been and the first place it appeared, your mind had instantly jumped to an unwelcome conclusion. Part of you wanted to race up to the bridge to warn Vanessa and tell her to stop playing games, that the entire crew was at risk. But you knew that wouldn't make it past the ensigns, and that there was almost no chance that they'd listen to what you had to say. If you're going to deal with this potential intruder, you need to stick to your original plan. Prove Cassie and the captain innocent, get the other crew members on your side, and then confront Vanessa. With a deep, exasperated sigh, you slowly squat down, your back sliding against the smooth metal of the door until you're sat on the catwalk. Placing your head in your hands, you struggle to corral your thoughts. You'd found out a lot of information, hopefully enough to absolve the captain and Cassie of Vanessa's allegations. But despite your best efforts, you couldn't bring them together into the bulletproof argument that you needed. It didn't help that you were distracted by the latest revelation. Someone may have come on board with the machine you'd fought and was roaming on the ship. Or if that was the case at all, and you were just being paranoid. Slowly and carefully considering the decision you were making, you reached for the radio. There was every chance that Dalton was still with the ensigns, but you needed to talk through what you've discovered with someone if you're going to figure this out. It was too risky to attempt to speak to Dalton right now, so instead you tapped the push-to-talk button on the side, continuously knowing that each press would result in a burst of static on Dalton's end. With any luck, he'd realize it was you, and even if he was still with the insides, he could play it off as a malfunction. Either way, he'd hopefully find a way to safely get in touch after hearing your signal. Hopefully. You wait a few minutes, but there's no response. Looking around to ensure that you're still alone, you make another attempt. Despite waiting longer for an answer or some sort of response, you still don't get anything back. Uh-oh. That's not good for our boy Dalton. Frustrated, you're about to return to the radio to your waistband when it crackles into life and you hear Dalton's apprehensive voice squeak from its tinny speaker.
Hello? Lieutenant? Are you there?
I'm here, Cadet. Are you all right?
Yes, sir. I'm okay. Sorry I took so long. I just had to get somewhere where I wouldn't be heard.
Good thinking, Dalton.
So, did you manage to get the information you needed from the computer? Do we have what we need to convince everyone?
Your finger hovers over the button that would let you respond as you mull over Dalton's question. It felt like all you'd uncovered should be enough, but...
Sir? Are you still there?
I'm here, Dalton. I've almost got it all. I just need to work through it. Are you able to get down to the central computer?
I
just need someone to talk this over with. It'll be fine. The ensigns won't think of anything of you heading this way.
Yes, sir, I'll be there in a few minutes.
Thanks, Dalton. I'll be waiting. You stand up and tuck the radio into your waistband, looking around the department again as you do. Whilst waiting for the cadet to appear, you find a position behind some machinery where you should be able to spot anyone who comes your way before they'd be able to see you. Keeping watch for any other members of the crew, you stay in place until you see Dalton making his way towards you with some trepidation. looking over his shoulder every few steps and jumping at random unexpected noises coming from nearby machinery. It takes the cadet much longer than you'd like to get near your hiding spot. Once he arrives by the entrance to the central computer, you prepare to step out. You don't want to scare him, but knowing Dalton, it would be next to impossible not to startle him. Thankfully, you think, any outburst of terror that you can make should be covered up by the ever-present noise of the engineering department. Dalton. Just as you'd expected. I'm glad you could make it down. Was everything okay with Hansen and Haru?
Lieutenant, it's you. Yeah, everything was all fine. They managed to catch me and made me sit with them until they sure I hadn't taken anything I shouldn't. I told them that I hadn't taken anything at all. I was just squeaked out by the sickbay, but they didn't believe me. I only managed to get away from them because I said that signal you sent was one the chief used to call me. They told me not to tell her, that they'd send me to the sickbay to get medicine, but since I didn't, and since I'm not even going to see her now, it's all, okay, I think. Right?
Listening to Dalton talk, you felt the tension in your shoulders return despite how you stretched them out earlier. Yeah, this kid is gonna make us a nervous wreck as well. God damn. I'm glad to hear you managed to get away without arousing their suspicions, Cadet. Good job.
Thanks, sir. So, what did you need? Now you've got all the information. That's everything, right?
Well, not quite. What we found out in the sickbay and what I've found from the central computer, I think I figured it out. But you pinch the bridge of your nose and close your eyes. Even with the time you spent waiting for Dalton, the whirlwind of thoughts and ideas in your mind hadn't settled. I need to go over it with you. This is our only chance to convince everyone that the captain and Commander Quinn are both innocent and that Vanessa's making it all up. I need to make sure I've got it all straight. If there's any holes in my argument, then they might not believe me, and that's it. Plus, there's some other stuff I found out too. But we can figure that out later. Right now, we need to start at the beginning.
You mean, proving the commander didn't kill the doctor?
That's right.
So, have you got that figured out, Lieutenant? Do you have something that proves Lieutenant Commander Quinn didn't kill Dr. Rosarium?
Why couldn't Cassie have killed the doctor? She had no reason to do it. She isn't strong enough because of the condition she was in. Of course it was the condition she was in. The commander would have been sedated at the time the doctor was killed. Based on what we saw on his tablet, I arrived only minutes after she had been sedated. His logs both have the dosage and timing on them. How could she have killed him if she was unconscious at the time of the murder?
Hey, that's right! If the doctor had given her sedatives and she was unconscious when you got there, she must have passed out pretty quickly. And we could show when he sedated her too. All this information, we could definitely prove she couldn't have done it. That's really smart, Lieutenant.
I can't help but smirk. Even if it was something, even if it was coming from Dalton, the praise was still reassuring. Thanks, Cadet. Now that we've got that figured out, we can...
But,
what is it, Cadet? You ask, your question tinged with a hint of frustration at Dalton finding issue with what you felt was an airtight point.
I was just thinking that, maybe Commander Quinn killed him, like, really quickly. Then maybe she could have killed him before the sedatives took effect? Sorry. It's just Commander Quinn could have. After they found him, Ensign Cruz told me that they couldn't see any marks or injuries on his body. That Quinn must have had some ultra-lethal spy way to kill him. And what if Captain Lord says something like that? Would be able to prove her wrong.
You cross your arms and turn away from the young cadet. Looking out at the abundance of technology filling the engineering department, you go over your thoughts. Dalton had raised a good point, and you knew if he had been able to realize it, it'd definitely be something that Vanessa would come up with to counter you. Fortunately, because you hadn't been able to examine the doctor's body, you hadn't been able to determine the exact cause of death. Not being absolutely certain, you'd have to make some assumptions that would hopefully be convincing enough. So we need to prove she didn't kill him before she fell unconscious, right? She couldn't have because it'd be too risky. She needed a weapon. She'd just been sedated. She'd need a weapon, right? You mull over the information you have, thinking about the scenario that Vanessa would present. There's no doubt she'd say that, although Cassie was sedated, she'd use the time between receiving the sedative and falling unconscious to kill the doctor. How could she do that? A weapon. Sir? Think about it. There's an extremely small window of time between the commander getting sedated and me arriving. There's an even smaller gap between her being given those sedatives and falling unconscious, since she was already out when I arrived. There's what you told me about the ensigns not finding any injuries. To have killed the doctor that quickly and without leaving a trace on his body, she would have needed a weapon. Probably an electroshock weapon. She wouldn't have been able to bring one on board due to security checks, and she wouldn't have been able to obtain one even if she could leave the sickbay without the doctor noticing. That's because I'm the only member of the crew with access to the armory. Normally. What?
Sorry, sir. I just mean that normally you'd be the only one with access to the armory because the ensigns have guns right now too, don't they?
You frown inadvertently as Dalton once again exposes a flaw in your reasoning. You know, for being a very nervous kid, he can be pretty observant. Good on you, kid. Yes, but what can prove Cassie didn't enter the army? She didn't have her card, right? I have the card. I was the one who took Commander Quinn to sickbay after the blackout, and she definitely didn't have a weapon on her then. In order to get one, she'd need this. You reach into your pocket and withdraw Cassie's key card, presenting it to Dalton so they'd be able to see her name and picture on it. Without that, she wasn't going anywhere, and I've had it ever since the power went out.
Oh, you're right, Lieutenant. That's great. She couldn't have a weapon, and you're right. There's no way she could have killed the doctor. That's it then, right, sir? We can go tell everyone that it wasn't Commander Quinn.
Yeah, hopefully that should do it.
Great. Who are you going to tell first? The chief? Or Dylan? Maybe...
Hold on, cadet.
Lieutenant?
The captain.
The captain? Ah, the captain! I forgot about her.
Lord accused her of being unavailable on purpose during the blackout, remember? Her and the lieutenant commander. Even if we can convince everyone that the commander didn't murder the doctor, then I bet Lord will just focus on the sabotage. It's not like she let the truth get in her way so far.
Oh, I guess not.
We need to convince everyone that the captain and the commander didn't have anything to do with the sabotage, and that they weren't dodging their duties.
But what do we know about them that we can use?
They were both unwell, right? If you remember on the bridge, Lord's argument was that they are both traitors through inactivity, that their absence was a choice.
Yeah, I guess so.
But, using the doctor's data pad, we can see that both of them were unwell at the time the blackout happened. There was no choice about it. The doctor made note of what happened to the captain, as well as all the scans and treatments he gave to Cassie. He wouldn't have done that unless he found cause to. That proves there was a genuine medical need. The doctor may have had his quirks, but I don't think the crew will believe he was incompetent or a liar. His logs show exactly why they wouldn't have been able to help. Using that information could show Lord's argument doesn't have a leg to stand on.
Hey, yeah. That's great, sir.
All right then. Guess that's that. Hopefully got a strong enough argument to convince everyone that Commander Quinn and the captain are innocent.
Yeah, once we tell everyone they'll...
But
But?
we've missed something.
Oh no! What?
Even though we can show the captain commander couldn't have done it, we still need to find out who is actually responsible. If we don't figure that out, then Lord will just worm her way out of it, saying that the captain and Quinn are still the most likely culprits, and she'll figure them out eventually. Oh, I skipped. Let me actually look at the... Oh, there we go.
So we need to figure out who it really was?
That's right.
But who could it be?
Who is the real culprit? Is it Vanessa, Hansen, or someone else? Let me save. Okay. So Vanessa was already in the ship. She couldn't have done that. Hansen... There is a chance that Hansen could have done the deed and then knocked our main character out. But it could be someone else as well. I don't think it was anyone from the crew.
But
Look at it this way. When the blackout happened, no one was in any position to take advantage of it. We were all totally taken by surprise. It didn't seem like something that happened from within the ship either. The chief would have figured out what had caused it by now otherwise. Plus, the same thing happened to the O'Brien. It wasn't just the power going off that affected the O'Brien either. Their doctor was also killed.
killed?
Killed. I found her dead, just like Dr. Rosarium. Then there was their sick bay. Their cabinets were smashed up, just like in ours. On top of all that, entry logs for the sick bay showed that the bioscanner didn't pick up anyone from the crew going in before me. Just an entry that showed no information. There are multiple logs for no information moving around the ship. These logs only started after that thing we fought crashed into the hangar.
Ah, but then.
That's right. Whoever was on board that thing when it arrived has done all this. It's the only way it all makes sense. Maybe they tried to take out both the O'Brien and us, but we were able to get back to the ship online. Now they're trying a different approach.
What about my phone? It's all over, and the chief said there was no exit so that they wouldn't.
Honestly, Dalton, we all saw what that thing could do. Wouldn't surprise me if there was some way of escaping that machine we could never pick up on.
But why would anyone do all this? Even an enemy pilot wouldn't. I mean, why?
Well, what is the pilot's motive? They're pirates, they're a spy, or they're after Cassie? Can't be after Cassie. If they were after Cassie, they would have kidnapped her. If they were pirates, then they would have been a lot more open when doing their thing. I think they're a spy. They're a spy.
A spy?
A spy. Maybe one from the Solar Federation trying to use their state-of-art technology to find out what's going on in the JUCF. They could be trying to steal information directly from ships. But we've caught them, and now their whole plan's gone up in smoke. So they're trying to get rid of us.
Aren't spies supposed to be, sneaky?
Well, yes, but
Because you're not meant to know they're here.
so that's part of it. Although,
And if you crashed into a ship and started killing its crew, people might find out about you like we have.
okay, what I'm getting at is,
This sounds like a really bad spy, Lieutenant.
okay, so it's not a spy here for information. It's because pirates? Pirates make a lot less sense. Because if there were pirates, they would have stolen a lot of things. I guess they're after Cassie. Dalton stands frozen in place, visibly shaken by what you're suggesting. You think about how you're going to answer his question, second-guessing yourself. It sounds crazy to you. How would he react? Okay, Cadet. I know this may sound a bit strange, but I think that whoever this is, they're after Commander Quinn.
Commander Quinn?
That's right.
Sir?
Okay, I know how it sounds, but bear with. Why would they be after Cassie? Why else would they do all this? I just have a feeling she has a connection to them. You take a deep breath. You still weren't totally sure, but with everything you'd noticed, all the odd happenings that you picked up on, it felt like the only explanation. You still couldn't quite form a full picture of what was going on in your head, but you knew you were so close to figuring it out. You knew that what you'd seen was important. There have been things happening that haven't made sense. On their own, they didn't seem like anything to worry about, but now that we're here, they do. When I reactivated the Gundog's computer, I could hear the same signal that came over the bridge's comms just before the whole ship shut down and Cassie collapsed. The whole thing went haywire. Everyone's crew reports were flashing up on the screen, but the only one that stayed was hers. And then the whole thing shut down. At the time, I thought the computer had been damaged by the sudden loss of power. Now I have to wonder, what if the signal was coming from that machine when it was on the O'Brien? Why would it focus on Cassie's file? She blacked out when she heard that signal too. She was the only crew member who seemed to be affected by it. It's her. Things keep happening to her.
You really think they're after the commander, sir?
Cadet, I know, it sounds ridiculous, but I think that's what's going on.
But she's just a lieutenant commander. Not that there's anything wrong with being a lieutenant commander. I know she's your I just, I don't get why you think someone would be after her.
Well, what makes her special? But there's just something special about her? She was left alive. Yeah, she was left alive, right? They didn't kill her. If they wanted to actually kill her, they could have killed her with Dr. Rosarium, but she was still alive. How they left her alive?
They left her alive?
That's right, in the sick bay. They didn't harm her. When I got there, the doctor was already dead. I didn't see anyone head into sick bay before I did, so they must have gone down there at least a few minutes ahead of me. Would have had plenty of time to kill her as well. But they didn't. They left her alive. But,
you're still alive too when you got attacked. So that doesn't mean that.
I'm only still here because Hans had raised the alarm after you noticed them attack me. That blow could have easily killed me. If Hansen hadn't pulled the alarm, they'd be able to finish me off just like the doctor. So they killed the doctor, they attacked me. Why was Cassie left unharmed? They wouldn't have left her alone unless they wanted her for something, right? Dalton continues to stare at you in silent disbelief. You know what you just explained to him might seem like madness, but you were convinced that you were correct. Oh, shoot. If you couldn't get Dalton to believe in what you were saying, there was no way you'd be able to get the rest of the crew on your side. You convinced them about Cassie's innocence when it came to the doctor's death and the sabotage. But was it a step too far to try to get him to believe that Cassie was at the heart of this?
You really think it's all about the commander, don't you, sir?
Yes, I do.
But, Lieutenant, what if it's all just... Couldn't it just be a coincidence or something?
I don't think it is, Cadet. You see, they could have destroyed the gun dog. There's no other explanation. There's too many coincidences. Yeah, now that I think of it, they could have easily destroyed the ship. They could have easily destroyed... I mean, they did destroy the O'Brien eventually, but they didn't. But they didn't for the gun dog. What about the fact that the gun dog is still in one piece? That craft, whatever it is, it ripped through the O'Brien like it was nothing, and then made all the way to the gun dog. Why didn't it just destroy the ship then and there? Hansen and I saw how powerful its beam weapon is. It sliced through the O'Brien's armor with ease. We'd been caught by the beam in our Juno, and we'd have been vaporized in a second. Why did it destroy the ship when it had every chance to? Why did it go dead at the exact moment it did, when we'd fly it right into our hangar? Why is the ship still online when that thing could knock it offline with a single signal? Why did all of this happen? Why does everything keep coming back to Cassie? Once again, Dalton stands silently in front of you, lacking the nervousness that seemed to define it. There was something about the way he looked at you. Maybe you were imagining it, but maybe it was because you knew that despite his rank, without him, you were done for. Had you gone too far in pushing your point? Was this the wrong decision to take? Have you missed something? I get it, Cadet. I know it all sounds strange, but with everything I've seen, it's really... Cadet?
I believe you, Lieutenant. A lot of things have happened, but the way you explain them, I think that, I think the commander's in a lot of trouble.
So do I, Dalton. That's why we need something now before they make their next motive. Before anyone gets hurt.
So, what are we going to do now?
Well, first we're going to...
That's...
Without thinking, you sprint away from the cadet and towards the entrance through the aft thoroughfare.
Lieutenant, come back. What's going on?
Despite Dalton's call, you continue towards the sound of the gunfire that tears through the air. As a security officer, you knew this was your duty, but beyond that, you had a terrible feeling. What if you'd realized everything too late? You dash out of engineering and down the length of the corridor, the sound of gunfire reverberating through the long hallway. A piercing staccato is beaten out in the distance, and you drop to the floor as the bullets punch through the space around you. You scramble... Oh, shoot. You scramble back to your feet, bolting towards the central hub as a flurry of shots answer the volley you'd narrowly evaded. Another burst of gunfire cracks through the air, just after you drive through the thoroughfare, a clatter of bullets striking the wall behind you. More shots fly past you as you scrabble along the floor, finally finding the safety by pressing yourself against the wall adjacent to the foreside thoroughfare's entrance. Najumu, what the hell are you doing here? Two ensigns crouch on either side of the entryway. Hansen looks at you in confusion as Haru leans around the corner, firing off another burst. Does it matter? What's going on? What does it look like? Damn it! Haru quickly ducks behind the corner just as another salvo pierces his face. Hansen responds in kind before returning to cover. Who is it? Friend of Quinn's, looks like. What? You lean around the corner, trying to catch a glimpse of the attacker, as Haru takes the opportunity to fire back. Who? Wait! Almost out of sight, slouched against the wall leading to the crew's quarters corridor is an unconscious Cassie. Cassie! Both of you, hold your fire. You might hit Cassie. We'll stop shooting when they do, Lieutenant. Ugh. As the lethal back and forth continues, the central hub fills with the stink of gunfire and hot metal. You'd be right. Someone was after Cassie, but you'd realized it too late. What would you do now? If you let this carry on, it won't be long until Cassie is caught by a stray bullet. Despite there being two of them, the ensigns are in the back foot, constantly having to duck back into cover as the attacker returns fire. What do you do now? There's a brief lull as the gunfire coming from the four-side thoroughfare pauses, and the ensigns both take the opportunity to reload. This might be the only chance you have. Cassie! Najumu, don't! You'd hope it to catch the enemy off guard. As you race towards them, their weapon is already raised, aim right at you. Oh! Dalton! Had no idea he followed you. You'd assumed he'd stayed where he was in the engineering department. Instead, as you'd frozen, your eyes locked on the barrel of the gun that was aimed right at you. He leapt forward, putting himself between you and the shot. No! No way! Oh, come on, man. Ah, Dalton. Ah. Oh my god, that sucks. Dalton! As you grab the cadet who staggers back into you and drops to the floor as his legs give out from under him. Hey, cadet, it's going to be okay. You're vaguely aware of the shooter slipping past you and into the hangar, pursued by the two ensigns. Within moments, the sound of gunfire fills the ship once again. Hey, come on, cadet. It's going to be all right. I'll get you to sick bay. Find a first aid kit. Can you hear me? Dalton, answer me. Come on, stand up. We've got to get you out of here. You attempt to lift the cadet onto his feet, but are dragged back down as he falls to the floor. Come on, kid. I'm going to need your help here. You make another attempt to lift him. This time he slumps down in your arms, his head lolling awkwardly to one side. Cadet! Damn it, cadet! Cadet! Dalton does not answer. You grit your teeth and squeeze your fists, tears in your eyes. In one movement, you turn and stand, heading into the stairwell and to the hangar. Rushing past the shocked Hansen and Haru, you leap down each set of stairs. As soon as the gravity begins to lessen, you vault the railing, dropping down to the bottom in seconds. Stop right there! You yell as you burst into the hangar. The woman stands in front of the huge massive machine and foam. What little you can see of her face is indifferent and unmoving. There's no sign of an expression at all. Can't even tell where she's been looking beyond the three green lights on the left of her helmet, each one glowing an eerie green, pointing towards you. Stop right there. You've got nowhere to go. Just give up. The rest of the crew will be here any second. You can't get away. You grit your teeth as you demand is met with silence.
You glance to her side and see Cassie slumped beside the silent figure. Cassie! Look, you just let her go. We'll go easy on you. Wow. Whoa! Fragments of foam cut through the air around you as the machine's prisoner is vaporized in an instant. You're thrown back by the impact of its leg on the catwalk, only saving yourself from slamming into the hangar's rear wall by grabbing onto another nearby railing. Wait! Before you can recover, they grab Cassie, slip a mask over her face, and throw her over their shoulder before retreating up the machine's leg. Within seconds, the pair disappears inside a hatch atop the craft that closes as soon as they're through. You spring forward, kicking off the wall behind you, when you feel a sudden rush all around you, drawing you forward. You grab onto the catwalk's railing just in time. The hangar's door is opening. You brace yourself against the air, whipping past you, doing your best not to get dragged along with it into space. Najumu, what the hell is going on? You hear Hansen yell over the rush of oxygen and glance back to see him and Haru hanging to the hangar's entryway. Get back here! This whole place is depressurizing! They've taken Cassie! We've got to get her out of there! You shout back, the torrent of air continuing to rush out of the hangar, snatching the words from your mouth as soon as you can say them. What are you talking about? Get over here! You feel the machine's steps reverberate around you as it stomps its way out of the hangar. Its engines ignite, and a searing blast of heat hits your back as it soars away from the gun dog. Give it up, Najumu. She's gone! Get back here! Cassie's been taken. Whatever that machine was, whoever its pilot was, she's with them now, hurtling away from the ship. Hansen and Haru remain clinging onto the doorway, gesturing for you to get out of there. What if we could convince them to help Cassie? Would Vanessa let them go in their armored frames? Maybe she was already ordering Dylan to fire on the craft. It's up to me. I've got to. I must save Cassie. I must save her. Can't just let her go. She needs me. I'll have to. I need to save Cassie. It's up to me. If I don't, no one else will. But to save her, I'd have to. I have to save her. She needs me. She's counting on me. This is it. I'm going to save Cassie. Yeah, get rid of that PTSD, buddy. You gotta go. I'm going to save Cassie. You turn around and bring your ship. Wait, what? You turn around and bring your right leg over the railing. Najumu, don't! The ensign lunges up to grab you, but he is too late. You throw yourself into the void of the hangar and are snatched away by the vacuum. You're just about to manage to grab onto the Juno as you fly past it, your arm nearly wrenched from its socket by the force. Yeah, get in there! Despite the pain, you hang on and pull your way towards the access panel by the cockpit, fighting against the rush of air that continues to buffet against you as you input the series of commands to open the hatch. As soon as it opens, you clamber inside and grab an emergency oxygen mask, sealing it over your face as you activate the armored frame. Hitting the combination of switches and buttons required to start the machine, you feel a dull rumble followed by a swell in vibrations as the systems throughout the cockpit are illuminated one by one. You grip the flight sticks and squeeze, breathing deeply and slowly. You can do this. As you push down the pedals, the Juno walks forward, and you direct it to grab a machine gun from a nearby rack of weapons before turning to face the open hangar door. You peer at the main monitor, trying to locate the enemy craft amongst the stars, but are distracted as a window opens on the screen to your left, and a shrill voice yells at you from the monitor's speakers.
You! In the Juno! haven't given anyone permission to launch. What? Lieutenant Najumu, what are you doing in there? You're supposed to be locked in your quarters. Get back up here. No!
Sorry, Lord. I'm going after Cassie.
You're what? You're not leaving this ship, you traitor. Get out of there and get to your quarters now. If you don't, I'll...
You press a single button on the screen, cutting off Vanessa's transmission. You couldn't care less about what she said or how she threatened you. You were done worrying. Alright, get out there, boy. Save your girl. Everything you did now, you did for you. For Cassie. This is Lieutenant Sai Najumu. K-Like 5. Launching! You slam both flight sticks forward, just as you watched Hansen do during his duel against the machine, sending the Juno tearing through the space towards you'd last seen the kidnapper's craft heading. Oh, it suddenly became loud. What the heck? Okay, let me lower the audio a bit. There you are! You force the controls as far forwards as they will go, demanding every last ounce of thrust available from the engines. The cockpit begins to judder around you, but you don't let up. As a gap between your armored frame and the machine closes it quickly, comes within visual range, and you notice it remaining still, almost like it had been suspended in space. In front of it, you see a strange, shifting distortion, as though the space ahead of it had been torn open. You're not going anywhere! With a twist of the flight sticks, the Juno banks right, and you bring yourself around in a wide arc, building up speed until... Oh, let's go! You give her back! Your head is still ringing from the impact, and you taste blood in your mouth, but you manage to regain control of your armored frame, raising its machine gun towards the enemy. Now! You're not able to get a shot off before the craft blasts away into space. Putting your teeth, determined to not let it escape, you thrust the flight sticks forward again, and you're forced back against the seat as the Juno hurtles after the target. You can hear the engines begin to whine and the main monitor is full of warnings and alerts, but you keep the controls where they are, not wanting to give the enemy a moment of reprieve. You slowly gain on the strange craft, and as soon as you're within range, you squeeze the trigger on the right stick, holding it down to empty the gun's magazine. Each round slams into the enemy, a sustained series of impacts throwing it into a spin. There's more where that came from! You threaten, beginning the process to reload your gun. With a grim grin, you focus the targeting reticle, lining up your next volley. Wait. In an instant, the enemy turns its snout-like protrusion already glowing brightly with the telltale bolts of energy emanating from the light within its weapon. It's all you can do to draw the controls back and slam your feet down on the pedals, trying to halt the Juno before it's caught in the deadly beam. Through luck more than skill, you manage to prevent the blast of energy from cleaving your Juno clean in half. But now alarms fill the cockpit, and your warnings cluttered your monitors as you realize the armored frame's left arm has been sheared off. You struggle with the controls as your off-balance machine careens through space. Its fine calibrations now thrown off by the loss of the limb. You manage to reorient yourself, only to see the enemy's cannon pulsing with energy as it prepares another devastating shot. Whoa! Damn it! Uh-oh. Oh! Surprised you lasted this long, Najumu. Not a bad effort for your first flight. Gonna catch hell for the chief for losing that arm, though. Hudson, what are you doing out here? Saving your dumb ass. What does it look like? What the hell did you chase this thing out here? I told you, it's taken Cassie. You're such a sap, Lieutenant. But you've got guts. Never thought I'd see the day when you stood up for yourself. If you want to rescue Quinn, get moving. I'll keep it here. Right. Oh, let's go. As soon as Hansen disappears from your monitor, his Juno is behind the enemy, grappling it. Oops. You waste no time in following him, struggling against the controls. Your ability to maneuver is limited, but you thrust over the craft, digging your frame's remaining hand into a gap between its armor. The actuators in the Juno's shoulders screech in protest as the enemy struggles against you, but you continue, not willing to stop now. Oh, let's go. Well, get in there, champ. Nice. Oh, we rescued her. Cassie! Sigh. You pull Cassie into the Juno's cockpit, closing the hatch behind her. As you float together in the enclosed space, arms wrapped around each other, you savor the moment. If it was possible, you'd never let Cassie go again. But with a sigh, you release her, taking both her hands in yours. Cassie, are you all right? I think so. You can tell from the look in her eyes that she's still a bit dazed, but otherwise you can't see anything that worries you. Come on, I'm taking us back to the Gundog. You push off the cockpit ceiling and land in the pilot's seat, bringing her down with you. After the two of you are sat down, you strap yourself back in and take a firm grip of the flight sticks. Hold on tight, we'll be there in no time. You gently push forward on the controls, easing the Juno's engines back into life. Cassie wraps her arms around you, nuzzling as far as your neck as she can, given that you're both still wearing emergency masks. You breathe a sigh of relief. The Gundog grows larger on your screen as you slowly fly towards it. The enemy machine has been taken out. Cassie is back with you. Everything is alright again.
Or is it?
Might be still things to deal with when you get back to the ship, but at least Cassie is safe beside you. You let out another deep breath, unsure whether you want to laugh or cry. Instead, you relax, loosening your grip on the twin sticks and gently resting your head on Cassie's, bringing your right hand up to slowly stroke her hair. Your armored frame continued the slow flight towards the ship. The only noise in the cockpit is a dull hum of the engine's vibrations, with both of you breathing softly. Sigh. You sit up slightly and look down at Cassie, who's still burying her face in the crook of your neck. She spoke so softly you weren't even sure if she'd actually said anything until she begins to speak again. What's going on, Sai? I remember getting taken to my quarters. Then there was this woman. Gunshots. Now I'm here. I think she wanted to take me somewhere. I could feel what she wanted. It was going to be somewhere really far away. From you. From everyone. Continue to gently stroke her hair, your fingers working through the strands to run gently down her neck and back. What happened? You're silent for a few moments, but eventually take your free arm and bring it around her shoulders, drawing her in tighter. I don't know. I don't know how to find out either. But whatever happens, I'll be here with you. Won't let anyone take you away again. I promise. You can feel a gentle pull on the fabric of your shirt as Cassie balls her hands into fists, clenching material between her fingers and palms. I love you, Sai. Oh, it's all the scenes. Oh, this is so cute. Oh my god, this is so... That's the first time you said that to me. Cassie draws her hands back from behind you and presses her palms against your chest, face still hidden. You stare down at her, your heart full. As you gaze down on her, she begins to squirm and fidget, once again clasping the material of your shirt in her hands as she balls them into fists. I love you too. With her pressed against you, It's easy to feel Cassie tense up for just a second before her whole body relaxes. It's so obvious as if she's relieved that you can almost feel it too. After another brief stretch of silence, she sits up, looking you in the eyes, hers moist with tears. Sigh. Oh, whoa, what the hell? Oh, another one. Uh-oh. Relief hasn't... Yeah, well... It was too good to be true. Damn it! Uh-oh. Or you can react, this new craft, identical to the one you just tore Cassie from, is upon you. The claws at the end of its leg-like limbs clasping tightly around the Juno's torso. You fight with the controls, causing the armored frame's engines to scream as you push them to their limits, attempting to escape the machine's grip. Hansen, Dalton, anyone, help! With alarms blaring from the cockpit speakers and warnings filling your screens, it's almost impossible to make out what's happening. You're just about keeping you and Cassie out of the rift in front of you, but even that is straining the Juno's engines to the point where you know they can't take much more. Just go, Sai. What? Cassie, I can't leave you. It's me they want. I can feel it. Tears of joy that had filled the corners of her eyes now run down her cheeks, having turned to sadness. They're not going to stop until they have me. Take a risk, boy, and inject. Let me go. No, I'm not leaving you. More tears flow down her face as she grasps at your chest. You have to. They won't stop. You can't win. Just let me... I said no! You take a hold of Cassie by the shoulders, looking deep into her eyes. You know she's right. You can't win. But you're not giving up now. I told you, no one was going to take you away from me. They're taking you. They're taking me, too. You grab Cassie with one arm and slam the fight stick forward, sending you speeding towards the shear in space. Oh, let's go! With a roar, you all plunge into the rift. You don't know why it wants Cassie. You don't know where it's taking her. You know one thing. She won't be alone. Hmm? Sai! Come on, wake up, Sai. That's it. Wake up. Where are we? You're alive! You're alive! Huh? I thought I'd lost you. Cassie? Oh, darling, thank God. Welcome back to the land of the living, Lieutenant. That's a whole carton of smokes you on me, Cruz. What? What? Yeah, whatever. Didn't think the lieutenant was gonna be this tough. Guess you're full of surprises, huh, Najumu? What's going on? Me and Cruz had a bet whether you were gonna make it after we popped your cockpit hatch and found you slumped over the controls. He figured out you used all your luck up. Not me, though, Lieutenant. I knew you wouldn't let something like that take you out. You've been showing you've got serious guts recently. That's obviously not what he's asking about. As Cassie and the ensign squabble, you try to marshal your thoughts and memories. Everything feels disconnected, jumbled. Simply thinking feels like trying to find something in a dark room with no gravity. I remember going out to save you. Then there was this rip in space. Something. I went into it and... You saved me. That's what happened. You sit up and place your face in your hands, massaging your temples with your thumbs to try and get rid of the feeling that your thoughts might fall out any moment. Hey, I think you mean that I saved you. You're welcome, by the way. I saw you charge headfirst into one of those weird glowing things. Didn't know what was going to be in there, but you knew you wouldn't survive if I left you to it. So like a good crewmate, I went in after you and dragged you and Quinn back out. Brought you here. You do the same for me, right? You reach out and grab the nearby railing, pulling yourself up to your feet.
As you do, the sensation of your head being flooded with thoughts and memories intensifies. You steady yourself, but keeping your focus feels like trying to carry a glass full of water that's been filled to the brim without spilling any. Wasn't this...
Take it slow, honey. Don't rush.
Sure you're ready to be up and about, Lieutenant?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You push away... Oh, sorry. You push away from where you stood but trip, falling unceremoniously to the catwalk and slamming your forearms and knees onto the walkway.
Sai, are you okay?
Alright, only so much of this I can watch. I'm on, Quinn. I'll grab Najumu. Let's get him up to the mess hall. Maybe a coffee will sort him out.
Right, thanks.
Hansen comes over to you and brings your arm up over his shoulders, hoisting you up without much delicacy. As you head towards the hangar's exit, Cassie follows close behind you, her hand resting tenderly on the small of your back. Once you're near the stairs, you move away from Hansen and begin to make your way up towards the four-side thoroughfare, each step becoming easier as you will yourself to walk unsupported. Cassie, what's happening on the ship? With Lord and... Hey, Sai, less talking, more walking. We'll fill you in later.
Don't worry about that right now, honey.
You look around the four-side thoroughfare and see everything looking shockingly normal. You didn't know what you were expecting to be out of the ordinary. Seeing the thoroughfare as it had always been, its same liminal peacefulness soundtracked by the gentle hum of the ship's systems, made you feel reassured. Maybe it wouldn't be so hard for things to go back how they were. It takes you longer than usual, but Cassie follows patiently behind you until you reach the mess hall. Alright, take a seat, you two. I'll grab some coffee. You sit down, still woozy, as Hansen orders 2 coffees from the vendmate. Cassie sits beside you, gently rubbing your back as you try to get your head to stop spinning. There you go. Take it easy and drink up. I'm sure Captain Barterbeus has a lot of questions for you. Captain Barterbeus?
But what about...
Ah, there you are, Lieutenant Commander Quinn. Lieutenant Najumu. Ah, ma'am.
Ma'am!
At ease, you two. But, Captain, what are you doing here? What about the ensigns?
What about Lord?
Lord?
Ah, yes, Lieutenant Lord's little dalliance with command. Thanks to Chief Cathy's, that has been dealt with.
The Chief? Something I can help you with, Lieutenant?
Captain Bartholomew said that you dealt with Lieutenant Lord. That is said being made to sound like an issue on the daily maintenance log. Thank you very much.
Lord! You spring to your feet, your head snapping back between the 2 ensigns, trying to see who'd make a move first.
What are you... Honestly, Lieutenant, don't make this so awkward. I'm here to... Come now, Lieutenant. Let's hear you say it. Apologize. Seems that based on what happened in the Forsyth thoroughfare, your actions out in space, what I was told by the crew, I made a mistake. So I thought I'd apologize. Sorry, Captain, Lieutenant Quinn, everyone. Oh, that's okay. I didn't even realize anything was going on.
I think that was for the best.
I've been so zonked on painkillers I've slept through almost everything. What has been going on? Well done, Lieutenant Lord. That was very big of you. So then, I'm sure we can all agree to put this matter behind us.
Put this behind us? Sensation of being lost at a shoal of your own thoughts returns. You can barely grasp the situation. Was that it? After everything that happened? Vanessa apologizes? The captain agrees to move on? That's very convenient, to say the least. Really? Are you all right, Lieutenant Najumu? You're not looking very well.
Captain, just what is going on? Hmm? This is all so... I think you should calm down, Lieutenant. Whatever happened to you out in space seems to have been something of an effect. Could probably do with eating something. Now there's an idea. Why don't we all sit down for a meal together as a crew? Chief Cathy's, gather everyone up, would you? I'm on it, ma'am. Alright then, who's first? A loud noise like the combination of a growl and a gurgle fills the room, causing everyone to look towards Cassie. Well, it has been a while since I ate anything. Any chance of a burger? Of course, Commander. Followed up by your favorite, a pineapple salad. Unless I'm mistaken. Oh, wow. I didn't know you knew. That's perfect, Captain. Thanks.
You know, what would make this weird if it turns out that the doctor is alive or if Dalton was alive? Yeah, that would make things weird.
We'll see, though. You never thought you'd see the captain happily begin ordering meals for the crew from the vendmate, but she does just that. Listening to Cassie's instructions on her burger preferences. You slowly slide back into your chair, cautiously eyeing the two ensigns and Vanessa. There's no way she wasn't planning something. This had to all be... Hey, Lieutenant. Good to see you. Oh, Dylan. Hey. Pretty crazy watching you go toe-to-toe with that thing out there. Fought almost as well as Hansen. No way. I mean, not bad for an amateur, but the lieutenant's got nothing on me.
Wait, what? He's alive? I thought he was dead. Yeah, this is where it seems weird.
Lieutenant Najumu, Commander Quinn, you're safe. I was worried about you guys. That thing looked tough. Oh, thanks, Cadet. You had nothing to worry about. My hero Sai was there to save me.
Wait, Dalton, you were... in the thoroughfare, you were...
What's that, Lieutenant? You...
Cadet Grange, you better make a door than a window. Mind letting me in? You're blocking the entrance.
Ah, sorry, Chief.
There we are, Commander.
Thanks, Captain.
With the noise of the entire crew's chatter filling the mess hall, you find it hard to think. Your thoughts remain difficult to line up, instead flowing like mercury. As you watch Cassie raise the burger to her mouth, a memory does bubble to the surface.
Wait, Cassie, you can't...
Huh? What do you mean? Your, stomach. Remember? The doctor said... Whoa, yeah, I knew it. It's probably something in his mind. There's nothing to worry about, Lieutenant Najumu. I made a mistake in my diagnosis. The synthetic food was not the issue.
Dr. Rosarium, thank you for joining us. I'm...
Doctor! You once again bawled out of your seat in shock. This is enough. This can't be happening.
Is there a problem, Lieutenant?
You were dead! I saw you! We saw you! You can't be here! Ah, I understand. No one else on this ship is a qualified physician, Lieutenant. Therefore, no one was qualified to assess if I was really deceased. Fortunately, the injury is not as severe as had been assumed. But I... Hey, come on, Lieutenant. You're killing the mood. Doc's fine. Be up and walking if he wasn't, right?
Yeah, take it easy, Najumu. Are you feeling okay, honey? Do you want to go to the sickbay for a lie down?
Yeah, honey. Do you want to have a little nap?
Be quiet, Ensign Cruz.
Tch. Mind is a maelstrom. At this point, everything feels wrong. It is wrong. But it's all happening. It's all right in front of you. How can you argue with that?
Come on, honey, have some fries. You shake your head at the offer, placing your head back into your hands. Cassie starts rubbing your back again, though quickly begins eating her fries with her spare hand. Crews eventually start to chatter amongst themselves again, whilst Captain Mears takes orders and retrieves meals from the vendmate, serving them with a level of cheerfulness that continues to leave you disquieted. There, I believe that's everyone. Oh, before I get started with my meal, Commander, I was hoping you could help me with one thing. Oh, sure, Captain. What's up? The ship's emergency input codes, are they generated and adjusted regularly, or is it specifically prior to departure? Would she ask that? Come on, Captain. You know that. You're the one that sets them after all. Well, it's, initially prior to departure, then every 5 days, or per enemy encounter. Uh-oh, the music is sounding weird. It's sounding weird. The music is sounding wrong. Whichever comes first. Of course. Thank you, Commander. No problem. Since the captain asked, Quinn. Oh, yes, Vanessa? At what distance do we typically start transmitting our security clearance prior to announcing we intend to dock at the colony? What are these questions? Oh, that's specific. I mean, once we be cleared for approach, is our docking confirmation signature specific to the ship, or does it depend on a combination of factors? Hey, you're just a cadet. I don't think you need to know that. What's the makeup of the Europa garrison force? Guys, I'd really like to finish my burger now, if you don't mind. What's the target time for a colony defense force's mobilization? Well, you look up to see the whole crew staring at Cassandra, a look of malevolent intent in their eyes. Does the JUCF implement a series of local data stores, or is it transmitted across a large-scale network? Guys, what frequencies are emergency requests transmitted on? What are you asking this for? Guys! Uh-oh. How extensive are the JCF's nuclear capabilities? Leave her alone! Guys! Uh-oh. That's not good. Another failure? Which incompetent calibrated this engram harvester? It's not subtle enough. We've been having difficulty with ensuring that the harvesting process is suitably... I don't care what you're having difficulty with. Rewrite the program to be congruent with the query context, then run it again. Understood. We've had enough time to develop this. These failure rates are inexcusable. They've got these gather clones' neural pathways mapped out. It should be simple. It's bad enough that Unit 00's jump drive malfunctioned. Are you telling me we can't even get the information out of a gather reliably? Ah, so... I think these people who kidnapped Cassandra, they're trying to pry into her brain by giving her the crew in an imaginary fashion, right? It's either Cassie or either like the main character. I see. Well, she'll keep for the time being. At least we'll have time to finesse the systems before we start receiving more. What about the other one? The other what? The other sample. The one the hunter captured alongside this gather? Oh, him. I'd hoped that having him in the simulations with the gather might help, that they seem to have some sort of relationship. Unfortunately, since his DNA isn't compatible with Mother AI, we can't run a specific engram harvester. Should we be able to run a linear review in real time? If you want to waste your time, be my guest. Hopefully, going through the recent events again from this perspective could uncover some more information. You're certainly welcome to try. If you do find anything pertinent, notify me immediately. Understood. Oh, one more thing. Do we have the output of the engram harvest we carried out on the additional subject? Confirmed. It's been archived. Under which digital lobe? It's at the default mode network. Node? Oh. 92617 171 683. Huh? Whoa, what is this? What the heck is this? I don't get it. Are these the routes? Whoa. Huh. Excellent. Send me that reference. It might be useful for review later. Now, run this one again. Once you've started her engram harvest, you can do the same with the others. Understood. Oh. Oh. Oh, what the hell? May 6th, Planetary Calendar 214. Europa Colony 01. Jovian Colony Fleet 2nd Military Court. Now that we're all here, we can begin. As was decided yesterday, this is to be the final day of the inquiry into the events that happened on board the JFS Gundog between April 24th and April 28th. Our findings today will dictate the JCF's future actions around the matter, as well as what is to be done with the ship's crew. Guards, please bring Miss Vanessa Lord to the stand. Welcome back, Miss Lord.
It's my pleasure, Commodore. I'm always happy to help.
We appreciate your support throughout this inquiry. Now, Miss Lord, we've gone over everything that happened on board. On board the Gundog following his departure from this colony on April 19th up until the 24th. The last task of this inquiry is to find out what happened following the death of Cadet Dalton Grange up until he returned to Europa 01. So to begin, you stated that you had Lieutenant Najumu confined to his quarters, correct?
That was the order I gave, yes.
How was it then that the lieutenant was free to disembark from the ship using an armored frame?
Well, due to the tragic death of Cadet Grange, who had no reason to be involved in any of this, I suspect that the lieutenant must have had some leverage over the poor boy. If you'd ask me, he probably arranged this ahead of time, as a contingency in case they were ever discovered. Of course, when the cadet was no longer useful to him, the lieutenant probably decided it was easiest to just get rid of him.
Of course, that didn't happen. We're trying to ascertain the facts here, Miss Lord. Perhaps you could tell us how the lieutenant was able to escape? Took us ages to figure that one out. He found the floor panel of his quarters wasn't attached quite right. Must have pulled it up somehow. Would have let him get to basically anywhere on the ship. Gotta give it to him. Pretty clever way to do it. And do you think he shared his information with the enemy infiltrator?
Seems that way, yeah.
Gundog's real small. No chance you can run into someone eventually, unless they were using a different way to get around. Now, previous testimony shows that the lieutenant and the hostile party were involved in an exchange of fire with you and the ensign crews, which was when Cadet Grange was shot and killed. The question must be asked, why was this allowed to happen? It's like I told you already. I don't know where that woman came from, but she had some serious firepower. Romney and I were pinned down. We could barely get a shot in. I know I got some shots in. My aim's good. but whatever body armor she was wearing, it's like she didn't even notice. I see. So after this, the lieutenant and the unidentified attacker, who you stated was carrying an unconscious Lieutenant Commander Quinn, they made their way to the hangar, whereupon they both launched into separate crafts? Yeah, that's right. Why were they allowed to launch? It wasn't my fault. I did everything I could to stop them from launching, but none of my controls were responding. I must have hacked the system to override my authority or something. It's the only explanation. I bet they did it ahead of time. There was no way I could have known. Even if you had lost control of the systems, we were under the impression that the hostile craft had been secured. Was this, or was this not the case? That craft had been secured, till it managed to break out, and I had to bet my life that nothing could get through the Cadet Grand's compound. Stuff was almost impenetrable. I'd be surprised if the team working on the gun dog right now has got anywhere near removing the cargo crates that were stuck in it. If that stuff didn't stop it, there was nothing else on the ship that could have. So, the enemy craft was able to escape the restraining compound and leave the ship after the hangar controls were overridden. Considering that Lieutenant Najumu was, at that time, supposed to be confined on suspicions of treason, how were they all allowed to board a Juno? Hey, we didn't know the lieutenant had gone anywhere until he came running down the hall in the middle of a firefight. He made a jump for it before we could stop him. Cruz tried to grab him, but the lieutenant was gone before he got anywhere near. Surprised the lieutenant didn't just get sucked into space, pulling a crazy stunt like that. And what happened after the lieutenant made his way into space? I mean, I was able to track him in that weird thing after they launched, but they were moving so fast and so close together, I couldn't get a good lock on either of them. Lord was ordering me to take them both out, but before I could line anything up, Cruz was out there and the gun dog won. Do you know who gave Cruz permission to launch? Hey, no one gave me permission to launch. But do you think I'm just gonna hang around and watch an amateur like Lieutenant Najumu get torn to pieces because he can't pilot worth a damn? No way! After showed some guts, I wasn't gonna let him die after he finally grew a spine. I went out there to give the lieutenant a little bit of help. So the two of you were able to defeat the enemy craft together? Of course Cruz was able to take it out. But do you think we were dragged back into our hangar for you guys? Might be in a few pieces, but those tech nerds love a challenge, right? But the lieutenant didn't return with you. Why not? Because he disappeared. That's why not. He sold out his friend and used them to cover his escape. The lieutenant and Quinn are probably plotting against us right now. We're not here for speculation, Miss Lord. We're here for facts. You're confident they disappeared? It wasn't like they just disappeared. More like he got dragged off. I was busy trying to keep the one we'd be fighting up until then under control. I was busy trying to keep up the one we'd be fighting up until then under control when another one came out of nowhere. No way the lieutenant could have fought back with his Juno torn apart like that. So whatever that machine was, it got a hold of his and took his back where it came from. Nothing I could do. So you maintain that they were dragged off? That's what it looked like, but I think it may have actually been a bosun jump. A what? A bosun jump, Commodore, if you think about how our HFTD works. By warping the space around the ship to allow it to move to significant distances. Then a bosun jump does something similar, but connects two unique points in space, letting a craft move directly from one point to another. All theoretical, of course. The energy requirement alone would... Alright, thank you, Chief Engineer Cathy's. But if you were able to detect the indications of a space warp, even if it was non-standard, why did the gun dog not head out in pursuit? I mean, it was just like what happened on the 23rd. There was a big pulse of energy of some kind and forced all the systems on the gun dog to shut down. chief said if we'd been any closer, everything would have been so badly fried the pulse would have killed us too.
So the ship was immobilized? What did you do then?
Guess I was lucky. Holding onto that trashed machine must have shielded me or something. Once the lieutenant disappeared into that freaky light show, I dragged the wreckage back to the gun dog. We got power back online, then slunk back here, tail between our legs.
And returned to Europa Colony. Was this under Miss Lord's orders?
That's right. Once we got crews and that other craft back on board, there was no sign of Lieutenant Najumu or Commander Quinn anywhere. I got the engines back online, and Lord told us we were heading straight back here.
And here we are.
So Miss Lord was still in control at this point. What about Miss Bartermuse? How many times do I need to make this clear, Commodore? I was stuck in my quarters with no idea what was happening outside because of that treasonous cow lord.
Is that all you have to say on the matter?
It's as I said, Admiral. Everything I told you to my knowledge, completely accurate.
I see. For our final question then, we'll return to the death of Cadet Grange. Are you confident that the lieutenant intended to kill him?
Couldn't tell you.
That's what Lord thinks happened. But it kind of looked like the lieutenant was trying to stop that woman. Maybe she'd gone against their plan or something? I don't know. Seemed like the kid took a bullet for the lieutenant from where I was standing. Thank you, Ensign. That will be enough for now. Guards, could you please escort Ensign Cruz back to the holding cells? Hey, I wasn't done yet. You have something to add? Ensign Cruz? I always thought that Najumu was a real waste of space. He had no place in the JCF. Thank you, Ensign. On that last mission, I guess he showed me I was wrong about him. Don't judge him too quickly, yeah? Thank you for your opinion, Ensign. Guards? This inquiry will be adjourning to go over its findings, and we'll be returning with our verdict shortly. Miss Lord certainly presents a compelling argument. I feel like there's something we're not being told. What do you think, Admiral? Losing someone like Cassandra Quinn is a catastrophe. She was only a lieutenant commander, but she's worked on a multitude of different ships, bases, and installations. In terms of her institutional and process knowledge, she was interrogated. There's no saying just how much the enemy would be able to learn from her. I might already have done that. We've been getting reports of attacks on various frontier outposts with similar patterns to what happened on the Gundog. Loss of power, sudden illness among the command structure, attackers appearing out of nowhere. The list of officers we've lost is already too long. Female officers. Captain? Just something I noticed, Admiral. All the officers missing are women. Whatever is going on, we can't let it continue. The inquiry into the events aboard the JFS Gundog will now reconvene. Guards, please bring back Miss Lord. Welcome back, Miss Lord. Glad to be back, Admiral. We'll be brief. After reviewing the testimonies of you and the crew that served under you, as well as the ship logs and recordings, we have come to our conclusion regarding your futures within the JCF. Miss Lord? Typically, a mutiny against your commanding officer would result in your execution. But I didn't. All the evidence is... Quiet, please, Miss Lord. However, we do understand, due to the rapid development and confusing nature of events, it appeared that the crew of the ship could have been involved in a conspiracy. Had that been confirmed as the case, you would have followed that appropriate protocol by removing Captain Bartermuse from command. Giving this, the inquiry has decided to be lenient. He will instead be placed under house arrest, pending further investigation. Understood. Thank you, ma'am. With regard to Hansen Cruz, for participating in a mutiny, you should be dishonorably discharged and facing a minimum of 10 years in prison. However, due to your performance in combat and experience with these new enemy machines, you will be serving as a pilot in a new task force. This role is non-negotiable. In addition, you will be kept under supervision, and your time as part of the task force in lieu of time served.
This will also be the case for Haru Rumney. Hey, won't see me complaining. As for Chief Engineer Mackenzie Cathy's, we are assembling a rapid response task force to handle a recent increase in similar events to those that impacted the JFS Gundog and JFS O'Brien. You are to be transferred to the JFS Sylvestris, where you will act as its chief engineer. The Sylvestris will serve as the flagship of a new task force. Unfortunately, you are the sole survivor of the Gundog's engineering department. Due to his death in the line of duty, Cadet Dalton Grant will receive a posthumous 2-rank promotion. In recognition of his work in the field of weapons development, his family shall receive a compensation for his restraining compound. Moving on to Warrant Officer Dylan Dees. We have reviewed your request and have decided that it is in the JCF's best interest to give you an honorable discharge from the fleet. Good call, ma'am. Your stipend and freedom are, of course, dependent on you ensuring that you do not disclose any information about what happened. Consider the matter highly classified. Don't worry about that, ma'am. Not planning on thinking about this anytime soon. Finally, Mayor's Barterabuse. I'm sure you understand the severity of the claims that have been leveled against you, as well as the punishment for losing command of your vessel. However, as our investigation into Miss Lord's actions is still ongoing, that means it's necessary for us to fully review the actions you have taken in more detail. For now, you will be placed under house arrest for the duration of the investigation. Of course. Oh, I almost forgot. Dr. Safer Rosarian. Due to his death in the line of duty, he will be given a posthumous 2-rank promotion. So you have been able to contact any next of kin. The doctor will receive a public service before his ashes are spread in the Usurpers Military Memorial Gardens. The judgment hereby concludes the inquiry into the events that happened on board the JFS Gundog between April 24th and April 28th. All decisions are effective immediately. You are... One question before I leave, ma'am. Oh, Barterabuse. Go ahead. What is the plan regarding Lieutenant Najumu and Lieutenant Commander Quinn? I can assure you, Captain, finding those two is a top priority for us. I see. Thank you, Captain. As I was saying, you are dismissed. Finish the game. Well, that is not the best ending, but it is an ending. It is an ending. I guess that's the staff. That's cool. Yeah, the art looks pretty cool. I'm guessing that this game has multiple routes and multiple endings. But you know what? Because we want people to actually play this game, right? We'll probably do the rest off stream. Unless, like, you know, you guys want to see more of this. But if you do, just let me know on the usual places, like the social media, or the comments, or the comments on YouTube, or on the Discord, or whichever. I'd be down to actually go back to it again, but yeah. We have been going for quite a few weeks. But yeah, this is interesting. This is actually super, super interesting. And yeah, it seems like there's going to be a lot to check out, even like potentially off stream. I do like the aesthetic though. It does look really good. Like, it's very retro-ish. Feels like it's in the late 80s or early 90s. They did a pretty good job with the aesthetics. And the story is pretty good too, right? Even with the side characters as well. Yeah, I did quite enjoy this. I don't know if there's going to be eventually a true ending or whatnot, but there probably is.
Can we actually skip the credits? Oh, I guess we can. Okay. Oh. Oh, it just sends you back here. Okay. Is there something where you can load, I guess? Let me go back. What if we go start? What would happen? Do we start the game from the beginning? Oh, yeah, we go from the beginning. Yeah, we actually go from the beginning. But, yeah, I guess that was Stories from Soul, the Gun Dog. It was pretty good. I wish we could have got the best ending, but, you know, there are a lot of decisions that you have to make, and there probably is a certain combination of decisions where you have to get the right one to get the best ending. Maybe one day we'll get back to it, but again, if you guys want to see more of the Gun Dog and its crew, just let me know, and maybe we can actually stream it again. But next week's VN will probably be a little bit different. And yeah, guys, thank you all for watching tonight, either live or via the archives. Tomorrow, we will be playing Pretty Derby Uma Musume. Yes, the English version has finally arrived, and considering how it's also coming out on Steam, it'll be easier to actually stream it instead of, like, you know, trying to look for a way to emulate Android or an Android phone or an iPhone. It'll be easier to actually play it on stream, and yeah, I'm actually honestly pretty curious on how the game would actually work, because it feels different from, you know, other mobile game. And of course, we're gonna do the gacha on stream, because, you know, everyone loves gacha. Everyone loves the rolls. Maybe we might get some. We might get a cool horse girl. Who knows? But we'll see. We'll see. But as per usual, before I go, let me see if I can send you guys somewhere on Twitch. Let me see. Is anyone playing a visual novel? Visual novel. Let me see if I can find someone playing a visual novel, because this is a visual novel. Oh, no, I don't want that. I want something. Okay. Let's see. Someone is playing Death Stranding. That's not a visual novel. I don't think so. Let me see. Not this one. The people I'm following are playing a visual novel, unfortunately. Maybe we can try raiding. Yeah. Now, this is a game I'm actually curious about. It's not a VN, but it is a game that hopefully I get to play with the crew in the future. And that is Peak. Yeah, it seems pretty interesting. So let me see if I can actually raid them. All right, we can actually raid them. All right, Guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a great night, evening, or afternoon, and I will see you guys in the next stream. Bye bye.